Namaskar, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, and welcome to Dev Talks. This is Aadi. Canada elections. Mark Carney wins it. Jagmeet Singh, or as we like to call him, or Jagmeet Singh, pretty much lost the game. Now, interestingly, what we see is that this whole election has been fought on anti-Americanism. What my analysis comes out to be, and what my analysis tells me, is that the entire election was based on the factor that Trump basically threatened Canada to be the 51st state, and of course, threatened uh, Justin Trudeau, the prime minister at that time, to basically join the American Union. There is also the talks of tariffs. There is also the talks of hard measures as far as the infiltration, the drugs, and the whole illegal system which is coming across into the US from the Canadian border. Now, in this whole scenario, what we saw was Justin Trudeau basically under pressure, not able to handle the situation. He had resigned and he left office, basically having Mark Carney being so called appointed and sitting down on this particular seat. Mark Carney thought it's going to be an easy ride at the beginning, and then what we saw that there was a certain amount of resistance. Then he's called for a snap election, which happened on the 28th of April, 2025. Now, before that, what we saw was a absolute blunder of a performance by Paul Poilievre, the other candidate from the Conservative Party. The interesting thing that we also see is that he could not get the narrative together, and he could not basically get the game going on for his side. One of the reasons for that is that he kept switching sides. Did not want to take a stand on Ukraine. He did not want to take some very hard stands as far as the economy is concerned. He did not want to take the stand that, boss, we need to deal with America. And he did not basically want to do the hard stuff. So he wanted to skirt around issues, say, oh, this, that, and the other. He wanted to slow down immigration a little bit, but did not want to act on it very solidly. So I don't think he had his narrative together. And when we see a situation like that, what we see is a leader who's not thought out his election campaign at all. What we see is a leader who basically in the last 2-3 weeks switched and started making big statements. Now, here the question comes about the Canadian people. What is it that they wanted? Because at the end of it, under the whole, under the whole liberal government, all they got was hardship. Now, I'll give you an example. Some of my relatives had gone to Canada about 2017, 2018. Yeah, 2017, 2018, 2019 sort of a thing. Exactly is not coming to my mind. That time, the cost of petrol was about $1.20. Right? Today, it's about $6 or $7. Inflation has gone up. Cost of living crisis is there. There are hardly jobs. Economy is slowing down. They're sending tons and tons of money into Ukraine. They've got societal challenges. As a matter of fact, they went ahead and acknowledged and celebrated a Nazi in their parliament. They've got corruption in their government. They've got huge amount of challenges as far as the southern border is concerned, with Donald Trump sitting there and harping away. I don't think they got their whole act together. Now, here is where Mark Carney basically came across and he said, oh, I will resist Trump and I will this and that and the other. Interestingly, what we saw from Trump as well was an endorsement of Mark Carney. And people said, what is this? Because Mark Carney is a complete globalist liberandu. Why is Trump actually backing him? And that was very interesting to me. Now, when I started digging around, I realized that Mark Carney's bank once actually gave a bailout to someone by the name of Jared Kushner. I don't know who he is. If you guys know, just let me know in the comments. They gave a break to someone called Jared Kushner, and that is one of the reasons why Trump is actually supporting this guy. Now, a lot of people say that Trump, if you speak to Canadians, I spoke to a few of them, they say, if Trump would have actually just backed Paul Poilievre, we would have won this game. I don't think so. Because Paul Poilievre did not have his narrative together, and the Canadians basically forgot that Trump has a history with Mark Carney. Now, how much does Mark Carney actually show the strengths against Trump? Time will tell, because Canadian society is divided at best, and I'm sorry, but a large section of people that have voted for these guys, clownish at worst. Alberta was already basically, put across today, I think in their parliament, they're going to be putting across a notification for a referendum of separation, right? So they're basically wanting to separate. They needed 177,000 signatures. They have got 192,000 signatures verified in one day. So people are pissed off. People don't want to go through this again. And the rest of the Canadians, a lot of these Canadians who voted for Mark Carney, has basically said, "Oh, we voted because we need to fight Trump. We are anti-Trump." Now, here is a very important question that these Canadians need to answer. Fantastic, you want to protect your country by being anti-Trump. How about being pro-Canada? Ever heard of that? I kind of don't think so. But in any case, no problem. That is their call. That is their choice. One thing interesting in this entire game that we see is Jagmeet, or Hagmeet that we call him. He's lost not just his place as the kingmaker, he's also lost his own seat. Now that is very important because Khalistani politics has occupied a huge space within Canadian politics. And this time as well, we saw these Canadian politicians going to gurdwaras and raising slogans and actually having these rallies on Baisakhi with Khalistani flags flying around the place. And that was, by the way, Paul Poilievre. Paul Poilievre, interestingly, has lost all his Khalistani friends, which are Tim Uppal and the whole gang. By the way, Tim Uppal's wife is part of the World Sikh organization that does a lot of nonsense as far as this whole narrative is concerned. So what we see is that people have kind of rejected the whole Khalistani politics within Canada. And how long does that last? And what is the street power that these guys have? Only time will tell, because these guys do have a lot of street power. As far as noise making capability is concerned, as far as reach into the bureaucracy is concerned, as far as reach into their lawmaking system is concerned, as far as reach into their politics is concerned, because a lot of these people actually fund a lot of these political parties, because these guys are stinking rich. Why? Because they deal in a lot of drugs, and as a matter of fact, that community is, certain section of it is pretty rich. Now, when we see this sort of a game being played in Canada, what I presume will happen there is that Canada will go further down the tube. Uh, Mark Carney, in spite of all the help from Trump, yesterday comes out and says that we need to end the special relationship between America and Canada. He's going to try and go his own way, sticking with the Europeans, trying to create that block of anti-Trump, or as the Americans call it, the Trump derangement syndrome. So they will do that, and they will try and basically resist these tariffs and the whole lot of action that Trump plans to take on them. How far will he be successful without a very, very good economy, without a very, very good prospect, without a very, very good, military, is anybody's guess. As far as India is concerned, there is a presumption. Obviously, when a new person comes, you always presume ki, chalo, theek hai, somebody's come. Let's kind of try and mend relations with this guy. So that's something that is going to happen. But I don't think India is too interested in kind of having a very, very happy, pally, lovey relationship with Canada anytime in the future, anytime near close to the factor in the future. One thing that we will see is basically the whole Ukraine gang will basically reform, because one of their people that might have just jumped out ship has come back. So you will find these Germans and the leftist European establishment getting a little more strengthened up. Okay, our game is still working out. And then you might have a lot of these globalist powers that were hiding in Europe, probably kind of trying to take a little protection from the Canadian government as well. How does Trump react to this, and how far will Trump tolerate this leftism right on his northern border, is for time to tell. But for now, Trump has kind of acknowledged, congratulated, and as a matter of fact, before the election, he actually endorsed Mark Carney very clearly. To the people who are straight thinking in Canada, well, I'm sorry, you guys are going to go through this, but you had a shot, you lost it. But let me just say this, you guys need to stand up for the illegal immigration. You guys need to do it. Otherwise, your country will be taken over by these Khayalistanis. And trust you me, the time is not long where one of your states will secede, and probably Khayalistan will be formed right there. Although I personally agree that it already exists. Thank you so much for watching this video. Canada, interesting. We shall keep a track. But my request to everybody, please like, subscribe, and of course, contribute and support this particular channel. This is our second channel where we will keep giving you updates about various different things happening in the world. And you will have the first and the second both running side by side. So a lot of updates coming from here. There are loads of things happening. I don't have the time to talk or the space to talk for it in the main channel. So I thought we'll have this one also going. Namaskar, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.